6:02. Welcome, everybody. We'll just do another welcome to our team meeting tonight. It is October the 11th, and we are excited to be here and just to go through some oil testimonies, some encouragement, which we have. So we have Angela giving our just a testimony tonight, and we have Pete that's going to give us some business encouragement. And I know that the encouragement is going to be awesome because I'm reading the book as well. And it is just an awesome book, you guys. So I'll let Pete take it from there. But as far as the rest of our call, I'm so glad everybody is able to get on live right now. For those of you watching the recording, I'm glad you are able to watch the playback. And let's go ahead and introduce Angela. How are you tonight, Angela?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Thank you so much. We're excited to hear what you have to share with us tonight.
I'm going to share about Copaiba soft gels.
Awesome.
Hold on, let me turn my ringer off. There. So I actually first got the Copaiba soft gels about 2 years ago. And I tried taking it and it was giving me like the Copaiba burps. And so I was kind of like, I don't really like this. And I kind of put it aside. And then about a year later, I saw a post actually on One Drop comparing the Copaiba to the CBD. And that piqued an interest for me because I'd been using CBD to help me sleep at night. Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you guys hear me? I'm getting some feedback.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd been using the CBD for sleep, but I know that there's like some contamination issues with that, like pesticides, heavy metals, or mold and that kind of thing. And I had actually been noticing like a funny taste and I wasn't exactly sure about the purity. So when I saw that comparison of the Copaiba and the CBD, that really like piqued an interest for me and I started taking them again. And then fast forward to just a couple of months ago, I ran out of my Copaiba soft gels. I just like didn't manage my order. So like it was coming, but it was like 2 weeks I was without it. And I started noticing a difference just with like my mental health. And I had a time like 8 years ago when I'd gone through some stuff and I started going to the gym. And if I would miss that gym time for like a week or two, I would notice kind of like a difference with my mental health. So I kind of had that as the comparison. And I realized that it kind of felt similar to that. And to me, it just kind of felt like depression. It took like a couple of days for me to realize like, oh, I'm feeling different. And I think this is what it is. So I had started taking the Copaiba actually for like pain management and to help me sleep, but it had that kind of like happy accident effect where it's really been like helping with mental health for me. And I don't know if you guys have had that experience where you're doing something and you're just going along and you don't really notice because you're doing it all the time and it's been like gradual, but then if you stop, then you're like, wow, that really was doing something. So I've just had a really, really powerful experience with Copaiba in a lot of ways, but it's always super powerful when you're kind of like not into an oil at first, and then it does something really strong like that for you. So I'm just all about Copaiba now. I love it. I use it for like a lot of different things, but it's really just a really versatile, really supportive oil, especially when you take it internally.
It really is. Personally, I've had just phenomenal experiences with Copaiba, and I don't know. I don't think I know a lot of you on this call, but the reason I got started with oils a long time ago was because of some autoimmune digestive illness. And, you know, one of the oils, when it was released, it actually like it helped my body so much from the frankincense and just doing the clean eating and all of that. But the Copaiba, when they released that oil a couple years ago, adding that into my oil regimen daily, like 2 to 3 drops, 3 times a day. It is, I don't know if have you guys seen the Essential Life book and read through the benefits of Copaiba? Well, one of them is for like digestive health, like things like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's and different things like that. It actually specifies, and it's incredible for just digestive areas. I mean, we all know, well, those of us who've used it, it's an amazing oil. So consistency is key. And that's really interesting that you brought up about like just like the mental health aspect of it, because I don't know if you guys know, I think it was yesterday was like Mental Health Awareness Day. And I just think it's such an important thing. If there's any tools that we can have in our back pockets for using like an oil or a product or a supplement, like adaptive is amazing, but to just regulate some of the things that are happening, like as far as like mental health and you know, depression, anxiety, some of those racing thoughts that we can't like seem to rein in. So that's really cool to hear that Copaiba like does that for you. And that's exciting for all of us to hear, because we can use that in speaking to other people, like when we have that. Thank you so much, Angela, for sharing. Does anybody else have any like cool Copaiba stories or anything they want to share? Okay, please. You can unmute. You'll have to unmute though. Can you hear? We can't hear you. Miriam, can you unmute?
Okay, now
there we go.
Okay, yes. Also, with me, it was more like the sleep. My sleep patterns have been like very, very bad. Mainly, it's waking up constantly. It's not insomnia, but it's waking up too many times a night, like maybe every 2 hours. So that's gone on for a long time. And when I put Copaiba, I started putting Copaiba, say 3 months ago, under my tongue at night, just 2-3 drops. And this last week, so I think it takes a while to take effect, and I've been fairly consistent. And now last week, I've started sleeping 5 hours. So for me, 5 hours sleep without waking up is like a huge breakthrough. So I feel better, of course. And I'll stick to that. I'll just stick with these 3 drops under my tongue at night and just keep going with that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love that. I've heard that it paired with even the Serenity soft gel is really helpful. And like a lot of people have a lot of success with like sleep issues, the Copaiba and the Serenity combined.
Yes. Yes, actually, yes, I did put Serenity. I don't have the soft gel. We don't have soft gels in Thailand, but I finished my bottle of Serenity because I together with Copaiba as well, you know, just having it near me.
Nice. That's so encouraging. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else? We have a few seconds. Yes. Okay, Valerie.
I have a 8-year-old mini golden doodle dog, and he jumps a lot, so he hurts his hind legs. Ha ha, Pete. And I can't give him an anti-inflammatory because he vomits, and I just don't clean up vomit. It's just one of my jobs, it's things I don't do. So anyway, so I tried putting a drop of the Copaiba on his little cookies one day, and he was able to go up the stairs. So the next day I took it out, and he couldn't do the stairs. And I did that for about a week. So I know the Copaiba is taking away the pain of him from his jumping, so he's able to manage the stairs. So it's making him more comfortable. And it was pretty amazing, I thought.
And so, sorry, you're just putting it on his like biscuit and he's ingesting it?
Yep, on one drop on a like little cookie, and it has
cool.
it's so cool because I did the pattern of it and I saw the difference. So I'm just going to give it to him because I don't want him to suffer, because he's in, I don't want him to be in pain. So.
Wow, I love that. That's amazing.
Heidi, can I share one last thing since we're talking
yeah.
about? I've used it now as a replacement for Advil for like cramps. This came up in like the Telegram chats a lot, so I just thought I'd mention. People were asking what to use. I used to take like 800 milligrams of ibuprofen for the pain, and like even sometimes that wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Just put like 2-3 drops with a carrier oil, rub it in to the abdomen, like within a minute, the cramps are gone.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it. And combined with like the deep blue, and now the deep blue stick. So very cool. Yeah. Hands up for the deep blue stick. All right. That's so cool. Thank you so much. Copaiba, it's one of my favorite oils, especially just to see noticeable changes and just positive things happen in our bodies. So, okay, now we're going to move to Pete. A little bit of business encouragement for us, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I was a little bit greedy and I reached out to Heidi and I said, I'm obsessed with this book and I really want to get it into as many people's hands in our team as possible. And even though this section is business/lifestyle/fun, I know there's a lot of people on this call who are here to use oils as our happy customers. But there's something in this book for everybody, yeah? And so I just want to share, Tracy, you're nodding, yeah? I just want to share a little presentation that I put together. The book is by Mel Robbins, and a lot of you know Mel Robbins. If you don't know Mel Robbins, she's not married to Anthony Robbins, total different family, yeah? And so she has to be the highest paid motivational speaker on stage. And that all changed. It all changed in 2020 where they just couldn't be on stage anymore. Cancellations kept coming through. And so she found herself in a position where her CBS talk show was also canceled, and she spiraled down into this pit of anxiety and overwhelm. And so this was how this High 5 Habits, I don't have the physical book, but I've got the audio book. This is how the book actually started. So let me just share the screen, because I think I want to talk about the science behind this book, because I think it's so fascinating. When you think high five, coming from Australia, sometimes high five is a little bit cheesy. We didn't grow up with it. But there's so much more to a high five that I have learned through reading this book. And I thought I really wanted to share that with you. And it totally changed my appreciation of a high five. So the book is called High 5 Habits, Taking Control of Your Life in One Easy Step. And when I started, I'm a massive fan of Mel Robbins. I thought, okay, it does sound a little bit cheesy, but let's give it a go. And I'm sure there's a lot already. Hands up, guys, or put a comment in the comment in the chat if you're already reading it, if you're loving it, what you're getting out of it. It'd be really great to see in the chat, because I know that there's a lot of us already reading it. We've started this as our new book club book, whether it's audio or whether it's you're actually reading the physical book. There's something in this for everybody. And we just mentioned about, the World Mental Health Day. This is a really nice flow through into this as well. And so High 5 Habits here, this is a little bit texty. I'll just move our pretty faces out of the way. And so I just want to go through these are some highlights that I picked up out of the book. I've listened to it 3 times already. I've kind of had it in my ears. And now that we can get outside again after 4 months of lockdown, I'm making the most of being outside and just having it in my ears. And it's one of the great things with audiobooks. So these are some little points I picked up. So when you give yourself a high five, it's impossible to think something bad about yourself. It really is. So try to give it a go. And this whole challenge is about standing in front of the mirror in the morning and connecting with yourself. So when you raise your hand, it's really a celebration, and it's really hard to think any kind of negative thoughts at all. And it's really impossible to have negative thoughts because of all of this positive association and connection that we've had with a high five. You know, it's this subconscious programming that when you raise your hand, you're raising it in celebration of somebody else. Yeah. And it really silences any kind of negative critic that you have inside your head. So when I started to listen, I think this is all in chapter 2 or chapter 3 of the book, I'm like, okay, well, that's my whole new learning about high fives. It's taken that whole cheesiness away. Yeah. So we've often raised our hand to celebrate other people, but this is a whole new kind of concept where we stand in front of the mirror first thing in the morning and we celebrate ourselves. So when you give yourself a high five, you have to focus on the action and the intention. It really puts you there in that moment, that full present moment. Yeah. And so normally when you're standing there brushing your teeth, you know, you're gone. Yeah. So you're brushing your teeth and already your mind is on lunchtime and what you're doing and running through your day, and you got to get your kids here and you've got to take your mum there and you've got to do all these things. So you're gone. And so when you connect with yourself and you raise your hand and you physically connect with the mirror, what you're saying to yourself is, I see you, I believe in you, I'm here for you, and you've got this today. You've got it. Yeah. And remember, it's impossible to have a negative association when you're doing a high five with yourself. Yeah. And Mel Robbins, she goes through this really funny thing where she starts talking about her neck, that she doesn't like her neck. But when she raises her hand, it's impossible to think about her crabby neck. It's just a great explanation. So normally we begin our days focused on everybody else and everything else. But when we raise our hand up and we connect, it connects you with that intention in that moment. Yeah. And so when we start our day focused and intentioned, we're starting to show up in our day. And I often talk about mastering your morning and getting connected in the morning. And this is a really nice habit to bring into your morning routine. So the first thing you do in the morning is we all go into the bathroom, don't we? And usually we've got the light off. You don't even see your reflection in the mirror. And so if you actually stop and connect, and here's the thing, and you like what you see in the mirror, that is the shift. That's the complete shift. And I know women are harder on themselves than men. The first thing you do when you see your reflection in the mirror is you start pulling yourself apart. Yeah, don't we? And so, you know, I got bags under my eyes. The lighting's not the best, you know. Mel Robbins talks about one boob is lower than the other boob. I thought it was great. and so we're pulling ourselves apart. So when you hit the mirror and you connect with the mirror, you're saying, I've seen you, I've heard you, and I appreciate you. And it's this intentional reflection that you have with yourself. So giving yourself a high five to someone else is always a shared celebration. So that's that cognitive neurological connection that we've always had. You're high-fiving someone else. And when you raise your hand with a big smile on your face, it's instantly recognizable to everybody else. It's a sign of encouragement. Yeah. So when you raise your hand and you place your hand on the mirror, Angela, I've seen you doing this. I've seen the photo. So when you do this, you are passing that energy not to somebody else, you're passing it to yourself. Because of that decades, depending on how long we've been on this earth, decades of conditioning and that recognizable sign, that's a sign of encouragement. So why shouldn't we be encouraging ourselves first thing in the morning? Yeah, because it communicates celebration and it communicates belief. So the high five will not only, it will not change all of the bad stuff that's happened in the past and all of the different challenges. But what the high five does is that it better equips you for different circumstances moving forward in your life, because you're taking a moment to pause and you're taking a moment to be intentional and to set up your day. And we know that when you set up your day with intention in the beginning, you're setting the tone for the rest of the day. And it's all about how you're going to react to the rest of the challenges that come up in the day. Yeah. So making it a habit It's not just a movement, but it's a habit. So making it a habit to see yourself every morning in the mirror, raise your hand, and celebrate yourself. It's really the first step in building a new relationship with yourself. And when I read that, I thought it was so profound, and it's real, because you're standing there in front of the mirror and you're acknowledging yourself, you're loving what you see, and the relationship you have with yourself is the most important relationship. Yeah. So that's that first line there. I thought it's really profound. And your ability to support yourself, that then changes every other decision you make in the day, and it changes every other relationship you have in your life. Yeah. And so when you replace all of the self-doubt and all of the criticism when you're standing in front of the mirror, and I don't like this and I don't like that, and oh my goodness, and as you get older, things start to droop and drag down, gravity takes hold. But when you replace all of that with self-acceptance and self-love, that lifts you up first thing in the morning, and it will change your life. So I want to get this book into as many people's hands in our team as possible. I've spoken to everyone in my team. Now I'm here speaking at Team Oil. Please, guys, do yourself a favor and just pick this book up, jump into Audible, download it. You can get it for free sometimes, I know Victoria was telling me she got it for free when she opted for some kind of shipping in Amazon. She got the book for free. It's crazy. So I'd love to hear from anybody now. Heidi, do we have a second that we can share some thoughts of anyone who's actually read some of the book already?
Yes, we have 6 minutes. We're following our time.
Hey. Tracy, you've got your hand up.
Thank you, Pete, for recommending it, because I don't get a lot of time to read, unfortunately. So I'm reading the audio, and it's been absolutely incredible for me. Even to the point where, because I'm doing it a lot during the day, and even to the point where I'm getting in the car in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, taking the girls, and it's, a bit crazy in the morning. I get in the car and they're like, "Mummy, you're crazy. Like, what's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "It's awesome. Give me a high five." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And I found that I did something, and I ran. And so I stopped the girls and I said, "Hang on, give me a minute." I ran in the mirror and I gave myself a high five, and I'm like, "I love you." And it's because of Mel Robbins. It's awesome. I think I'm addicted to positivity, and anything just to try and, hype things up and stuff. But I'm finding that I'm just going in the mirror and I'm really having a good look at myself and just being in love with myself more. It's been great. So
yeah, her energy is insane. Don't you find like her energy is amazing? Like you were saying. So, no, thank you so much, Tracy. It's so true. Is there anybody else who's reading the book or has anything they want to share? So I'm reading it. And so Pete, you actually hit on something that I wanted to share about the book, because it actually is really so true. And you said the relationship, so this is actually verbatim from the book. It's a quote. "The relationship you have with yourself is the foundation of every other relationship you have in your life." And when I heard her say that, I thought, gosh, that is so true. Like we carry into every other relationship how we feel about ourselves. And I just thought it was such an amazing, I love the concept of like the high five. And because when I give myself or I give someone else a high five, it's like, I always think you're awesome. Like when I give my kids a high five, it's like, you're awesome. And so every time I look in the mirror and I go to do that, like very cheesy feeling of giving yourself a high five, I hear it in my head. Like I hear, "You're awesome." And like, how often do we actually tell ourselves that we're awesome. You know, like she was saying, like we hardly ever do. And so I love the concept of it. I love just everything that she says. It goes so much more in depth. And in conjunction with this, you guys, like I was thinking, how amazing would it be to like train your mind, giving yourself a high five, and then using your limbic, like the limbic system, using an oil that you love alongside it. Like all citrus oils are like happy oils, right? So if you give yourself a high five and you like have maybe a wild orange or a citrus bliss or a grapefruit or even like an adaptive, and you just inhale that at that moment, all of those things are going to trigger, I'm awesome. You know, like, or whatever, like Tracy, like what you were saying, you're like, run to the mirror and you're like, give yourself a high five. And it starts your day out so well. And it gives you like belief in yourself, and, you know, where you've maybe tried to get it from this or that, this relationship or that relationship, or wherever else you've tried to find belief in yourself, like you can get it, you can actually receive those things from speaking into your own life by looking at yourself, right? So anyway, I just thought that was so awesome. And I love exploding it. What does exploding it mean? I love that.
You were just chatting about, bringing in these energizing citrus oils. And I think if Tracy goes to another level and introduces an anchoring citrus oil, she may just explode.
I'm telling you, I'm addicted to it.
But don't you guys find that, like when I'm teaching an oil class, one of the first oils that I love to introduce is like a wild orange and like obviously the peppermint, right? But I tell people that try to think of something that really irritates you or really upsets you. Now take a wild orange, put a drop in your hand, smell it. Now try to maintain that thought. It's almost impossible, because the smell of that citrus oil is just going to like just overwhelm you. And you're just like, oh, that smells so good. You can't even focus on what you were thinking about before. So I thought that was really cool. We have tools to like add to this whole concept of like reframing our mind and how we feel and how we think, which is very cool. So we're at 6:30. Does anybody else have anything else they want to share today? Just a little wrap up.
I'm proposing cheer and motivate.
Oh, so good. Awesome.
This cheer already makes me giddy. Like I can't not giggle when I smell cheer to begin with.
Love that. I know cheer's so good. My daughter, she calls it her happy oil. And so she kind of carries that around with her and rolls it on.
I think Dee, you've got your hand up. Happy birthday, Dee.
Oh, is it a birthday?
Yes, yes.
Are you still with us?
I start reading the book. I mean, like, because Pete introduced the audio. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
There you go. So I'm gonna start reading the book or try the audio book. So I'm excited hearing everybody's opinion about the book. Pete, I'm excited. Thanks for the greetings.
Well, thank you guys so much for jumping on. I hope that you were able to just take a little bit of encouragement from the oil that we talked about and high-fiving yourself. If you haven't tried it, try it. It feels silly at first, but just do it and take a picture, join the little movement. It's pretty amazing, the psychology behind it, and the book goes into a lot more. So, oh yeah, Elaine.
Everybody unmute and everybody high five each other.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I love it.
All right.
High five.
High five.
High five, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Heidi. Thanks, Angela.
Thanks, Heidi. That was great.
Good to see you guys, everybody.
Thanks,
It's so
Pete.
good to see faces.
Thank you, Heidi. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Heidi.
Bye.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.